Hi, uh, let's look at how to create the services for this particular blog. So you can log into the AWS Management Console and go to the Cognito service, manage user pools, and then you can create a new user pool. You can name it as API-test or any meaningful name, and just click review defaults and create the pool. And the next step is to set a domain name, and you can set any domain. Like again, you can do something like API for test. This domain is not available, so I will change it to API for test one. This domain is available, and I can click save changes. So we have a domain which is configured for this particular Cognito user pool. And the next step is to create a OAuth client. So you can go here and add a client. So you can name it as something like API client and create a client. So that will automatically generate a client ID and secret. So the next step is to create a resource server. So resource server is something which will be the actual APIs, which will be protected by these OAuth scopes. So let's add a resource server name products, and you can give an identifier which is similar to your URL pattern, or you can just add something like this. The recommended is naming standard is some kind of a URL pattern, but you can still enter any free text there. So here let's add 3 scopes called read, which is read product details, update, which is update product details, and delete product details. You can click the save changes, and you have a resource server with 3 different scopes. And now you can add these scopes to that client which was created in the previous step. So if you go to that client settings, you will see the list of identity providers here. But right now we have only one identity provider, which is this particular Cognito user pool. So you can just click select all. You don't have to configure these callback URLs or sign out URLs because we are not going to use authorization code grant flow for this particular setup. So just enable client credentials, and it will automatically enable the 3 scopes which were created in the resource server. And as of now, let's grant all the scopes for this particular client. Click save changes. So now we have the Cognito setup that is done. Let's quickly test it out and see if it works fine. So in order to test this Cognito setup, let's take the in order to test this, let's get the domain name. So if you look at here, this is the domain name. And if you go and search in Google, AWS Cognito, and you can use this tool called Postman. I'm sure many of you would have used this tool in multiple scenarios, but so let's use this tool for now. And if you open a new request, so you can open a new request, go to authorization, and then go to, let's say, OAuth 2.0, and select the OAuth 2.0. Here you have a new feature called get new access token. So here you can enter the authorization URL. So let's copy the authorization URL from this domain settings. And as mentioned in the document, you have to add this OAuth2/token. So now you have the authorized URL. And let's copy the client ID secret of the client which we created in this step. So copy this client ID secret. Let's leave the scope as it is. Let's try getting a token. Okay, there's some error. Oh, sorry. So this should be selected as a client credentials. So let's try to get a token. What is the error in the oh, sorry. Let's see URL again. Yeah, we got it. I think AWS takes some time to enable the service. Maybe that is the reason why it didn't work initially, but now it works fine. So let's copy this token. You can go to this website called jwt.io. So if you look at this website, you can paste this JWT token and it will show the details of this token. So if you look at the scope of this token, it has all the three scopes: product/delete, product/update, and product/read. So you can request for a specific scope and the token will get generated only for that scope. Let's try that. So let's go here. Let's add the scope as product/read. Now you request a token. So you get a new JWT token. Again, you can go here and remove the old one and paste the new one, and you will see the scope as product/read. So we are done with the Cognito setup for this blog. The next step is to go and configure the API gateway. So let's go ahead and configure the API gateway. So let's create a new API. And you can select this option, which is a developer REST API, where you gain complete control over the request. So go to build, and again you can name it as products get API. So now you have the API gateway created, the API gateway config created for this new API application. So let's go ahead and add a resource. Again, let's name it as products or just product. Create resource. And let's add three methods. The first one is get. The second one is post. And third one is delete. So these three methods correspond to that three scopes which we created in the resource server. So let's take the first one, which is the get method. So in order to test this, either you can create a new Lambda function or some API which will sit behind this API gateway hosted in some EC2 server. You can do all those stuff, but for this setup, let's just use the mock option. So you can select the mock option, click save. So now you have the mock environment, the mock configuration for this API. So you can go to the integration response, expand this 200 and go to the mapping templates, select this application JSON. So you can just add a dummy JSON response, something like this. Action, read product details. So you can save this. You can go back to get. Save, let's say you can go back to the get. You can try testing it. So just go to test, select test. So you got the response action equal to product details. So let's add the same mock response for post and delete. So go to post, select mock, save. So you have this config, go to integration response, mapping templates, application JSON, and you can change it to update product details. Similarly, go to delete, mock, save, then integration response, mapping templates, application JSON, delete product details. So saved. So you can go to post one more time. You can go to test it. So you get the update product details, delete, test it, and you get the delete product details. Now the next step is to deploy this API in the API gateway. So you can go to deploy API. So you can give a stage, something like V1, which is like the version 1 of this API. So you can go here and you can deploy this. So once you deploy, you will get a URL for that particular stage. So you can copy that URL and again go to Postman and open a new request. So you put /v1/product because that is the resource which we created /product. So now you do a get. You get the response as read product details. You change the method to post and do your request update product details, and similarly you do a delete. You get a delete product details. So the API gateway setup is done. The next step is to add security layer on top of this API. So let's see how to do that. So on the left navigation bar, you will see something called authorizers. You can go to authorizers. You can create a new authorizer and name it as Cognito authorizer. Select the Cognito option. And when you click this box, you will automatically see the Cognito user pool ID, which was created in the initial step. So you can select that Cognito pool and you can name the authorization header as, let's say, authorization. So create. So now you have an authorizer configured for this API gateway. The next step is to add this authorizer to these APIs so that no one can directly access this API from public. For example, I'm just going here and doing a get, I'm getting the response. I don't have any headers, authorization, nothing. Anyone can access this API. So now let's try to protect this particular API, only the get method using Cognito authorizer. So let's select the get. You go to the method request, select the authorization, edit. You don't see that Cognito authorizer here, and this is something weird, but what happens is once you refresh the screen, I think this is something related to the AWS issue. So if you select the get, and now if you see, you will see the Cognito authorizer. So it's some kind of a refresh issue. So in case you face the same issue, just refresh the browser once and you will see the Cognito authorizer. So now you have the Cognito authorizer here. I selected the Cognito authorizer and then you click this tick mark. So once you select this authorization as Cognito authorizer, the next step is to add a look at here. This is the OAuth scope which we configured in the resource server. Let's add this OAuth scope. And again, click the tick mark. So it gets added. So now we have to again redeploy the API to take so that these changes take effect. So the API is deployed now. So let's again go back to the Postman console. Generally, Cognito takes some time for the changes to take effect. So you keep clicking send, suddenly you will see an error saying unauthorized. Yeah. So now you got that error unauthorized. So you're getting this unauthorized error because now that the get method expects a token in the authorization header, which has this scope called product/read. And that is the reason why you are getting that unauthorized. But if you call this post, you won't get that unauthorized because we have not yet added those security layer for these two methods. But when you go to get, you will keep getting this unauthorized error. So now what we can do is we will go back to this tab. Let's get a new access token with product/read scope. So now when I click request token, I get a token here. So I got this token. You can verify this token's scope one more time in this jwt.io. It has products/read. So now you can go back to this second tab, add a new header called authorization, and paste that JWT token here. And now you make a call. So now you got the read product details because the token that you are passing in the authorization header has the scope called products/read. Let's do one more test. So you can get a products, you can get a new token. Let's say instead of product/read, I put product/update. So I got the new token here. You can again verify this token scope in jwt.io. So it has product/update. That is the only scope. Now if I use this particular scope, it should fail with unauthorized error. Yes. So the token which you pass should have the scope which is required to access that particular API and that particular method within the API. When I say method, it's the HTTP method. So let's again go back to API Gateway and add the product/update scope to the post method. So again, go to post, select the Cognito authorizer, select the tick button, then add the product/update scope. So now post is also protected. Let's deploy this API one more time. And now let's keep hitting. Let's remove this authorization header for now. So suddenly it will turn to unauthorized. Just okay. So we got the unauthorized error. Now let's enable this authorization header again. And if you look at this token, it already has the product/update scope because we already verified it here. It has the product/update scope. And if I click send, yeah, now I got the response for this post method. And similarly, let's do the same test that we did for read. Instead of product/update, I put product/delete and get a new token. Let's verify it one more time. So we have only products/delete. So now again, go back to this tab, remove this. So you got an unauthorized error, which is expected. And if you go to get, you will still get an unauthorized error, which is again expected. But when you go to delete, you will get the response because we have not added any authorization layer on top of the delete method. Let's do that. So again, go to resources, select the delete, go to method request, go to authorization, Cognito authorizer, go to auth scopes and add products/delete. So we have this product/delete added to the delete API. Let's do one more thing. Let's temporarily disable this authorization header. So we still get the response. Let's now deploy the changes. So it's deployed. And let's keep clicking send, just keep clicking send. And at one point of time, it will change to unauthorized. Yeah. Now again, enable the authorization header. We know that this token already has the product/delete scope. So you click send, you get the response. And now if you go to post, you won't get it because it has only product/delete. If you go to get, again, you won't get any response. So how to use the same token for all the three APIs? It is pretty simple. So again, go to first tab, get a new access token. You can either manually add each scope, like you can add it with a space delimited value. So I can add something like product/delete, product/read. So now I will have a token which has only these two scopes. So you can verify that. Go to JSON web. So you have two scopes. And now if I go back to this tab, change this token and call this API, I get the get response. I won't get the post response because it doesn't have the product/write scope. So that is unauthorized. If I go to delete, I'll get a delete response. Another option is if you want all the scopes, just remove the scopes parameter altogether and you will get a token which has all the three scopes. So that is a bit risky. So it is always the good practice is to add the scope explicitly so that you restrict the token to a very minimum privilege. But it depends on the use case. You can just remove the scope, you will get a request and do a request token, you will get a token which has all the three scopes. So you can verify it here. So you have a token with all the three scopes, which will give you like a super admin access. So you remove this, you add this token, you do a delete, yeah, you get the delete response, you do a post, you get the post response, you do a get, and you get the get response. So this concludes the setup for this particular blog. And if you have any questions or comments, you can post in my blog comment section. Thanks for watching. Thank you.